Hi everyone, I'm Andrea and this is UNE Discovery Voyager Online. Now when we learn a new skill, everyone's like, well, it's just like riding a bike. It's something that most of us can do pretty much automatically. And that's because we've made specialised brain maps in our head, in our brain, that allow us to do those things. And that's because of these special guys called neurons. And we have about 100 billion of these in our head that make up our brain. But how do they all fit in there? Well, they're all really, really tiny. And neurons work together using something called neurotransmitters, which are little chemicals that make things happen across our body. So on our nerves, if I am to touch my nose, like that, I have a brain map that is due to my neurons firing in a particular way that allows me to touch my nose. So when my arm relays back to my brain that I'm moving, that specific brain map is operating. Now let's get back to the bike. There's this guy called Destin Sandlin, and he's an amazing guy, an engineer in fact, who created something called the backwards bicycle. And that's this thing here. So the backwards bike is very special because you might notice that when I turn right, what happens to my wheel? It goes left. When I turn left, it goes right. So this is going to really confuse my brain maps because my brain map is set to the normal way to ride a bike. Now over the past little while, I've been practicing riding a normal bike. So I want to see if my brain map has reverted to that way. So I'm going to try and ride this backwards bike after a little while. Let's see what happens, okay? So what you can see is that my brain map has in fact reverted to the original way to ride a bike. But can we reverse that? And that's the big question. It's sort of about training our brain in different ways. Because when neurons fire, when they send specific signals, if they fire often enough, they wire together. So we say fire together, wire together. So that's when we practice a skill, our brain maps are improving for that specific skill. So I'm going to spend a little while seeing if I can ride this bike and get my brain map back to the backwards bike. And we'll check back in a little while to see how I go. If I go that way, it's okay. This is so embarrassing, Kieran. Right, coming back, Phil. All flooding back. Lost it. Okay, so that was far from perfect, obviously, but you can see that my brain map is starting to rewire for me to ride the backwards bike as opposed to a normal bike. That's because my neurons are firing together and slowly wiring together. Now, as soon as I stop riding this and go back to a normal bike, my neurons will start firing apart and therefore wiring apart. So I'm losing that skill. So pretty much that's testament to the fact that the more we practice something, the better we're going to get at it. So maybe don't try this at home, but you might find some other ways to test your brain maps. We'll see you next time. Is that good enough?